most cases in Massachusetts don't come to trial for at least 1 to 2 years.
But other than that, you've been pretty tough on sex offenders. I'll give you that. But why wasn't he? Why did you impose no bail burden on him?
Well, first of all, bail's up to the court. He was a police officer.
You didn't request it.
Well, I'm trying to explain why. He was a police officer with no prior record, and he had surrendered himself, and we put him under all kinds of conditions. We could have asked for $5,000 or $10,000 bail. He would have posted it, and he would have been out. He wasn't likely to flee. He showed up to court every time. He knew he was under investigation, and he came to court. We could have asked for bail. I doubt the court would have given it. Even if they did, he would have posted it.
I mean, a number of sex offenders could fall into that scenario. And all right, I guess we'll end that conversation as far as that goes. Healthcare. Would you pass a healthcare bill that had a conscientious objector toward certain procedures, including abortion?
It would. I don't believe that would be included in the health care bill. I don't understand exactly what the question is. I would not pass a bill, as Scott Brown filed an amendment to say that if people believe that they don't want to provide services that are required under the law and under Roe versus Wade, that they can individually decide to not follow the law. The answer to that question is no.
Okay, so a service.
And let's be clear, because Scott Brown filed an amendment to a bill in Massachusetts that would say that hospital and emergency room personnel could deny emergency contraception to a woman who came in who'd been raped.
Right. If you're a Catholic and you believe what the Pope teaches, any form of birth control is a sin, you don't want to do that.
I know, but we have a separation of church and state here, Ken. Let's be clear.
Yeah,
right?
But in the emergency room, you still have your religious freedom.
The law says that people are allowed to have that. And so then if you can have religious freedom, you probably shouldn't work in the emergency room.
Wow. Okay. So if you have a religious conviction, stay out of the emergency room.
Well, no, I'm not. Look, you're the one who brought the question up. I don't believe that the law allows for that, and I know that we accommodate all kinds of differences all the time. I think Roe versus Wade has made it clear that women have a right to choose, and in Massachusetts, particularly if someone has been the victim of a rape, an assault, and she goes to an emergency room to get contraception, someone else should say, oh, no, I don't believe in it, so I'm going to affect your constitutional right.
No, I agree that there's got to have some balance there. My last question, what in particular, I mean, the South Coast, you've said that you're going to work to get money to the South Coast. Your potential colleague as Senator, John Kerry, said there is no way to bring federal funding to South Coast Rail. Of course, this is pre-stimulus. I don't know what you could do with the stimulus funding. What can you do to bring South Coast Rail to Massachusetts? To southeastern Massachusetts, I'm sorry.
I think it's very important, and I think it can be a linchpin to turn around the development for that economy. It's been on the books for a while. I understand that. I'm not a miracle worker, Ken. I don't pretend that I'm going to come in and change the system overnight. Mm-hmm. But I will work, whether through stimulus funds or other federal transportation money, as we go forward, to target that is a huge priority, not just for the South Coast, but for Massachusetts.
I'm hoping that you were able to enjoy some of the seafood down here. As you know, it's among the best in the country and at a much better price than most other places. But I'm glad you came down to New Bedford. It's good to see a major candidate spending time on the South Coast. We seem forgotten sometimes.
Well, Ken, I grew up in Berkshire County, way near New York. I understand that people outside of Boston sometimes feel that way, and I appreciate that. I've spent a lot of time in New Bedford with the mayor, making sure that we had money for kids who needed jobs, working on issues around the fishing industry. We have an office. The AG's office has an office in New Bedford where we work on labor issues, where we work on consumer issues. We've been very involved with New Bedford. I think it's a great city that has a lot of potential, and like where I grew up, it's been left behind by policies that have let businesses go out of state overseas. I think it's time to develop New Bedford with the private sector, the public sector, our elected officials, and let's turn that around. I know that it's got a lot of folks who have a lot of pride in New Bedford with the leadership of Mayor Lang and others. I think that we can do that. I look forward to working with everybody in New Bedford to make sure we do that for the economy down there.
Well, as a registered Republican, in all frankness, I wish you luck on Tuesday, but not that much.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks for joining us.
Some of my best friends are Republicans.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.